Yes, Lefichoch nekראו to Zayin. The odds are that many of you have learned it years ago. It's probably one of the most avodadik Maamarim, at least. First, one of the most avodadik Maamarim of the Rebbe. And even in the avodadik Maamarim, it's unique. Meaning, even the avodadik Maamarim, many times it's about. You have many Maamarim about the Seder, avodas Tefillah. I don't know how to say it, but there's a certain haskalah dikatnuitit, or there's a certain hecherkeit. Here, as the Maamar, the Dibra Maschil, you see over here, the Alter Rebbe's Dibra Maschil, L'hav v'ninin timtu alev timtu amayach. Yeah, the Maamar of the Alter Rebbe, Maamar Makzarim, it's about 10, 15 lines. It basically has the whole Maamar here, just in the Nakud, the Yisayt. Timtu alev timtu amayach. And the Rebbe Mamish goes into the Prat, Timtu alev timtu amayach. I see. I don't know if they're working on I don't see it here in the back. But be'emes, if you have some time, very gishmak thing to look up is the Sefer HaSichos Teira Shalom. He's been citing a few places here, right? Or 12 and on many others. He speaks about the inyanim of the Maamar. Some things mamish the same oisius, some things under oisius. It's a bit of a different kav, but very very reich oisius. The Sichon Teira Shalom. It's from Sukkos Teira Ayin Gimel, I believe. Very reich oisius there. 5-6 pages. There's something I'll say, maybe some Yus know what it says there, maybe but it gives a lot of reich oisius, because ultimately the child is like, what exactly is this Timtum Alev and Timtum Amayach? Yeah? And then the Eitzes. You know the famous Maisa that the Rebbe brings a Basel Lagani Yod Aleph. Right, so the Rebbe brings a Maisa from every one of the Rebbeim. So there's the Maisa of the Rebbe Marash. What's the Maisa of the Rebbe Marash? That he went to Paris. Yeah, he said, "Younger man, yain nesach." What's the lashon there? Tamtem hamoyach ve'alev. Yeah, both of them, huh? It's both of them, hamoyach ve'alev. Right. So there we have Tumtum Alev and hamoyach together, and yain nesach as the goyim. Right, we'll see over here that we get into the pratim. What exactly is Goyim Timtum Alev? What exactly is Goyim Timtum Amoyach? And the Tikkunim, there's a few interesting Nikudas here. That's point number one, I'll get back to that. Point number two, you see over here the Hemshech to the previous Maamar, and right there you see over here by the Rebbe, the L'mayla and Ketzam Adadin Tachas. Right? In the previous Maamar that we learned last week, or weeks before that, Kimet Seischa, so the Rebbe read the bittul that's nidrash, right? That the Vedas meyus, you have to have your tzimtzum by you in order to be mamshech l'inyan of the tzimtzum l'mayla. And what's the tzimtzum by the person? As alt was der tut is for a dir b'tachtoinim. It's for the Eibishter for dir b'tachtoinim. And the lashon is, and hitiru. What's the hitiru? Hitiru, the inyan of oir benafshe. Why hitiru oir benafshe? Not means that the etzem inyan is okay. Because for there's a shvira, there's a bittul of nesh bahas, right? But everything has to be muslim bittul. Right after that Maamar, he comes in this Maamar. What does he say in this Maamar? That the first is this the first eitzah? He's speaking about the shvira, right? The first eitzah of Timtum Alev. What's the first eitzah? Gufa de loisolik v'nahir and nishmasa mivachin le v'yan here. Right, to break just like the wood that won't catch fire, you can break it. We have it splintered into many small pieces, and then it could have fire. Same thing with the guf. That the guf isn't mekabel the eir nefesh, so you break the guf. So we're talking about the shvira, and through that the eir comes. So what's the shvira? The shvira is you realize the spoinus in vos likstu. You're like a behemoth. The only thing you care about is achila v'shtia. Or have to get your achila v'shtia, make some money, get more achila v'shtia. So Maamar is like a behemoth. Okay, what's the problem with being like a behemoth? The problem is that be'etzem you should be somebody bazucht halten by madrega. Be'etzem you should be halten by madrega. It's a very interesting, right? It's a very interesting explainedness. That be'etzem you should be a person. You should be someone that has sheifis. You should be someone who's halt by epis. You should be a somebody. You should be a somebody. And Lopel, you're a nobody. This is the shvira, yeah? And then he says, we just said in the previous Maamar that even legalis urban nafshe is not the seder. But here's tchilos avoda. And linotzel mehara, right? Is what is it? It's usually mitzay into tzionim to Ranat in the beginning of Shuvi Yisrael, right? That to get out of Ranat, whatever works. Think about Gehenim, think about this, think about that. Whatever, at that basic, right, the baseline of Yom Sur Meirah, whatever helps you Sur Meirah, no matter how upside down it sounds and how misnagdish maybe, yeah, do it. But here, this is interesting. Here, I don't even know if it goes that far in that Maamar. Make a cheshbon that you should be somebody who's halten by a dargen. Halt my madreg. Right, so here this is almost punkt verkehrt from there. There we're saying that hitiru legalis ben nafshe. Hitiru that you should be clear about ben nafshe. Why? Because sof, not because the legalis ben nafshe is okay. Because sof there's a shvira of the nefesh bahamas. Here we're speaking about the shvira, the mivachinle. And what's the mivachinle? As they're halt by madrega. Right? There we're talking about a madrega legalis, which not even a legalis urban nafshe, and it's okay because sof you're breaking the nefesh bahamas. Here we're saying what is the breaking? What's the shvira? The shvira is how do you reach a shvira by the isboinenos as a pastornish? I don't know. It's a pastornish is like mishecher for them. No, you should be at a darga. You should have an identity, a Yiddish mitzias. Fine. Huh? So it's verkehrt from the previous man. In other words, there we say that you could be a mitzias because sof is a kudus a shvir over here. Here we're bringing actually a shvira l'cher that happens in Bahamas. What are we saying? What's the shvira? Now, in a way, you could say it's a hemshech. Meaning, sof, the nefesh Bahamas. At the end of the day, whatever you do with him, you have to talk his language. So even the shvira. So when you're shoyber the nefesh Bahamas, at least initially, how do you break the nefesh Bahamas? Pass. You're better than that. What did Rebbe, what was it? Since label Kaplan. Yeah, the Rebbe told him, he asked the Rebbe, if I mess up the pratim, help me over here. I think he had told the Rebbe that he has a problem that whenever he opens the fridge, he sees something he has to eat it. Yeah? The Chmeretach Begin B'Shteit in Maamar, yeah? Kol inyonei achila v'shtia, as a behema est hey, it's the same thing. Basically, you can't. Yeah. You ever heard of a zach? Yeah. You see it. You open the fridge. Whatever you see there, you eat. Huh? I don't know if I have bacha that's a skafi or a savcha, but so the Rebbe told him. I'm not saying exact words, but the teichen was that next time you're by such a nisoyin, look at yourself in the future. The one day you're going to be a Greisa Askin. You're going to be a Yansa Yacha Bedan. I don't know if the word was Shliach, I think it was Askin. So the Rebbe basically told him what his future, which was not what they're ultimately chosen to be, to go to Tzfas. Because Rebbe Tzayir, your future, and it's past that guy. That guy is just a fresser. There's you who right now, there's no diary, there's no madrega here, right? So you don't see the problem. Like, what's the problem? Like, what do you mean? So I'm a little kid, I'm a teenager. He was a young bacher. But that guy that you see in the future, in other words, there's a madrega that you're able to hold on to. Right? What do you mean? There's kafia, there's state in chassidus, there's riba yispoinus you could do. But then there's an akuda, there's the initial shvira, which is what? There's a madrega. It's past me better, yeah? I'm better than that, I'm bigger than that. So first he discusses Timtum Halev, and then Sif Gimel, that's the Sif Beis, and then Sif Gimel Timtum HaMoyach. I said earlier that the Rebbe said from the Rebbe Marash, it's Metamtum HaMoyach V'Halev. So it's interesting in Perek Chavtes, Tanya, or where does it speak about Timtum Alev, Bigger? Tanya, right? It's a Prakim Chavav, Chavzayin, Chavches, Tes, Lam, Lamed Aleph, Gimel a bit. Right, or Abetzon, the if you could call them the psychological, right? The Nyoni HaNefesh, the Nyoni of Atzvos, Merirus, Simcha. That the Rebbe is assigned to many people in Igros Kodesh to learn. People that struggle with depression, chulu, marish chayra, to learn these prakim. So, after he discusses a few inyanim in Atzvos and Milud Alma, Milud Dishmaya, Mishas HaTeira, Tefillah. So Perek Chavtes, is a lange Perek. Ach oid achas tzorich loshes etzis benafshis abeinunim, asher lif'omim v'itim rabim yesh lehem timtum halev. Lif'omim v'itim rabim. Meaning, until now we were speaking about, like right now you have Machshavas Zaris, or you have Tzaris coming, you have Daigas of Parnasa, or Daigas of Yerushalayim, Yisurim, all kinds of inyanim that bring a person down, make a person depressed. Then there's an Akudah where, not necessarily you could say, okay, this just happened to me right now, this is what's going on in my life. This is much more widespread. Lif'amim v'itim rabim. Yesh lam timtum alev, shenasa ke'even, and then there can't be psichas alev, b'shum oifin la'avodah shebalev zu tefillah. And then sometimes you can't fight with your Yitzhahara because of kvedo shebaliboy. So on this he says, what's the Eitzah HaYotza? Right, like we said in our Maamar. What's the Eitzah HaYotza for Timtum Alev? So he brings the Maamar of Omar Rab Mesifta Began Eden. Od the Leistalk Ben Avtzon, right? Gufat Leistalk Ben Nahir with Shmasam Avtzon. That the Eir HaNeshama VeHaSeichol Einei Meir Kol Kach Limshel Al Chumri Yeshebeguf. So first he translates, he explains what's Timtum Alev. That the Oir, Haneshama, and the Seichel, because the Seichel is working, is not meir enough to be Moshel on the Chumri Shebeguf, and the Lev isn't affected by it. But then he goes on the next line and says, Va'af shemeivin u'mispainin b'sichli b'gdulas Hashem, einei nitfas v'nidbak b'moichoi kol kach, sheyuchol limshel al chumri shebelev. Even though you're mispainin, there is an element of mispaininus here. It's not nitfas and nidbak b'moichoi. It's also not nitfas b'moichoi. Sheyuchol limshel al chumri shebelev, machmas chumriyuson v'gasuson. Machmas chumriyuson v'gasuson. What's chumriyuson v'gasuson? Chumriyuson v'gasuson is rabbin, is plural, right? What's the chumriyuson v'gasuson? She's speaking about a certain person. One person. Mavin u'mispoinen. So machmas chumriyuson v'gasuson, so the Zohar, the Shiur Sefer Tanya, the Zohar, the Rebbe on this. And the Rebbe's medayik, machmas chumriyuson v'gasuson is going on the moyach and lev. Right, so even though the perek starts with Timtum Alev, the Chayra then it goes and it's Koilel Timtum HaMoyach as well. It doesn't use the Lashon Timtum HaMoyach, but he says the Eine Nitfas v'nidbak b'moichei kol kach. Sheyuchal limshot al chumriyus alev, machmas chumriyuson v'gasuson. What's the reason for this? Asiba hi gasus ha-klipa shemagbiya atzma al-oyer ha-kodesh nefesh al-ikis u'masteres u'machshicha oyer. Therefore, you have to be mevatchin leiv nishbar v'chulu v'chulu. So here you see also he brings the element, he brings the nekuda of Timtum HaMoyach. What's interesting is that he brings the Timtum HaMoyach together with Timtum HaLev, and on both of them he says the nekuda of mevatchin leiv. So mevatchin leiv connects the Timtum HaMoyach and Timtum HaLev. But here in the Maamar, and as is before in the other way in Teir Shalom, you see this and also in the original Maamar, the Alter Rebbe. You see the mevatchin leiv is for Timtum HaLev. Timtum HaMoyach is a andere Zach. The different nekuda. L'chayra, the Timtum, there's different dargis in Timtum HaLev and different dargis in Timtum HaMoyach. Especially you see over there in Tanya that he says that Eine Meir Kol, he starts off saying the previous line, right, that the Eir Neshama V'Seichel Eine Meir Kol Kach, with Limshel HaChumri Shebeguf. Then he says, Eine Nitvas V'Nidvak V'Moichei Kol Kach. Right? So there's kol kach. There's nitvas v'niduk b'moicha, ein nitvas v'niduk kol kach. Sheyuchal lushad ha'chumis halev. Meaning, the pashtus, the timtum hamoyach that he's discussing in Tanya, it seems that it is niskabel in the moyach, but not enough to be poil on the lev. So it would come out like this. There's a few dargahs. There's the moyach is working fine. The moyach gets it. The moyach is doing a perfect job. For whatever reason, the lev isn't mekabel it. The heart's nicht so. Right? He's a regular guy. He has the right hanachis. He has the right ashkafis. Everything's working. Over the hearts. Yeah, I'm not saying lahavdil, but when the bacher comes in shidduchim, yeah, and he says the cup, it's an Arabit, so it's all good. The $1 million question: what's on shachas alev? And so it can become a complete disconnect, right? The cup Arabit, in cup it all makes sense. The hearts, there's no connection. Doesn't. Right, it's a person learns chassidus and he gets it, but there's no daven, there's no heritage, there's no eating klal. So now you could say that. So there's a few way found out how to look at this. There's that the moichin is doing a perfect job. For some reason, the lev has a timtum. There's something blocking the heart. The heart just can't open up. Or you could say there's like sort of a middle dargah. The cup the head gets it, the brain gets it, but there's a certain disconnect. Right? Let's see, in chassidus you have there's moichin and then there's midas sheba moichin. Right? There's the general, you get it, I understand what's going on, but then you have to come to another maskana. Kirvas alekim toiv. Right? You have to already get that it's good. Then there's already kirvas alekim li toiv, where there's already a certain element of midas. Right? So there's a few stages here. There could be a stage where the moyach gets it, but not enough, and it's not personalized enough in order to come to the heart. And then there's this bichlal, the cup doesn't bichlal get it. You don't understand. It was that good. There's a lashon there in Teira Shalom that he says, what's the pshat timtum hamoyach? He says the oilam zog, stazi v'zogim, that timtum halev is that the lev legt sich nicht up in hearts. Timtum hamoyach legt sich nicht up in cup. Versteht nicht, legt sich nicht up by him. That's the smart. But he says, but no, that's not at least the way it is in there in the Sikha. That's not timtum hamoyach. What's timtum hamoyach? Timtum hamoyach is, maybe he does understand. Se felt the Ibergebenkeit. That's Lashon Ibris. Se felt the Ibergebenkeit. The whole Arichas, the whole Sikha there, he speaks about Chachma and Bina. And Chachma is the Nekuda of Ibergebenkeit. What's Ibergebenkeit and Moichin? Sort of, right? There's what's he says three none there. There's Verstehen, Legt sich up, and Ibergebenkeit. I don't know if he says clear in the Sikha there, but the Chayre Verstehen is Bina. And then there's Hanocha of Chachma. Then Ibergebenkeit would be on, maybe it's Riyah de Chachma. It's Ibergebenkeit is the masters the. You know, it's like this. You can understand something, then it makes sense, and then you get it. You're present, right? There's a certain achdus. It's like, okay, you come to Shiur and it makes sense. I get it. You learn the Maamar, that's cool, nice, good word. Then Lefichoch is a certain it makes sense. Like sometimes you hear something, you understand, you could get a good mark on a test, but it's not munach by there. And then there's where it makes sense. I'm not just classing over what you told me. It makes sense to me. It's good. It's clear. And then there's maybe there's from using the wrong words here, but right there's I get it. And even more than that, when a person really understands something, it becomes their identity. When you really get it, it's your identity, right? That's the way I see things. That's how I see myself. But ultimately, we see ourselves through our moichin. We see ourselves. We react to ourselves. We identify based off the world of ideas that exists in our head, but not just the world of ideas that float in the back of our brain. By our perspectives, right? So this master is when something becomes your perspective, right? It's a re-identification. I identify with that. I identify with that idea. Yeah, you know something? I buy in. It's a buy-in. That's maybe the right word. You buy into the idea. It's yours. So in Tanya may be speaking about the Nekudah where the moichin is fine. There's something about in the connection, sort of in the midas of the moichin, something the connection between the moichin and the midas. Then it could be we're speaking about moichin already, where the midas, right? So let's say when the person has the initial, the first in Sid Beis, he does all the tikkunim for the timtum halev. And in Tanya there's also a certain element of timtum hamoichin that's also involved in that. And what does he do? So we have the different eitzes. Number one is the mevatchin le. Nocha eitze for timtum halev is his spoininus in inyonim nailim. And number three is amiras oisiyas atayra. Now this is very interesting, and especially we'll see the contrast with timtum hamoichin. Think about someone that's timtum halev, right? The moichin is working fine. He gets it, he understands it, everything's working well. The lev, arbet nicht, right? I don't feel, I'm dead. You have people walking around throughout their life. People, it's in many areas of life. It's like, whatever. Like you move on. When you're younger, the heart's clapped and whatever. Enjoys the fabring. Then at some stage, like whatever. You're just going through. You look at Hagi and then the. Mitzvahs Nashim Melumada, you do what you gotta do. Say there, you'll daven, fabring, whatever you'll do, you'll do what you're doing, but they're stuck in hearts. So what's the eight? The eight is you have to crack the code of the heart. Right? So you have to practice therapy on the heart in one way or another, right? Open up the heart. L'poil, when you look at the three eights of opening up the heart, they're almost counterintuitive. First of all, you want to open the heart? Bengoy. Like really? It says that by a Shiur, so the Rav, the first thing the Rav starts the Shiur is what? Why? Everything is B'Shem Shemayim. Right? Psichas halev ha'moyach comes through this certain psicha. You want to open the heart. How do you open the heart? There's different ways. There's different activities to open the heart, right? You say shvira. Number one is shvira, right? Break it. Number one. Number two, your moyach is working, your heart isn't working. So what do? Run away to the moyach. Go nach tifer in moyach. Nach tifer in moyach. Go deep in spine. Why? How could that be eight? He says it's a charay. Because the moyach gets it. The only problem is the heart. But the moyach does understand. This is not good. So what do you have to do? You just have to change or up a bit what you're thinking about. You're being mispointed in Yonim that l'chayra the lev has shaykhs to, right? You're mispointed in Yonim that are shaykh to your metzius, which is l'chayra the simple way, right? What's that in Chassidus? B'chol levavcha b'shnei yitzarecha. You want to be mishpi on nefesh b'hamis. B'chol levavcha, that's the ava. B'chol levavcha is the ava to malikla. B'chol nafshecha is only one nefesh, which is nefesh l'kis, because it's the spinus inside of kolam. So initially, the normal way to be mashpi on the heart, the regular way is malik, right? Think about normal, regular things, spaining and yonim pshutim, things that relate, and that's the way you develop a proper heart. And your heart is erev for kedusha. But if it's not working because there's a timtum, now you have to run to say, you have to run to hafla, flas atzmas. Now it's a different nikud, a different leifin. Here you got to break, right? And it's how the Shabbat to the first one, even though it's a different mahal, but the same nikud. There's a shvira here. The oir, that has to be bekeya that simtzum. Has to be bekeya the leva ev. It's a different mahalach. Someone that is a stone deer, right? That's the leva evan. A hartayid, a shteinayid with leva evan. What do? You break it. How do you break it? You don't put up a fight. So it's interesting. Also, the style of the break is interesting. The first break is pas merhechet. Yeah. In other words, what am I, behemoth? I have to be a person. Nachashvir is be mispoinin a flaws alikus. Flaws earned. If in yonim nailim, sit and learn the deepest in yon. Chassidus. It sounds like the ultimate escape. Like, what do you mean? I can't deal with my heart, so let me escape into the world of ideas. No, you're entering a place that's actually going to be put. You tried the regular oifin to ma'oder your heart. No, that doesn't work. Okay, break through the shell. And the dritte inyan is your heart's not working, so start reading letters, reading words. What's the shaykhis? The same nekuda. Oisius HaTorah is connected to Chachma. It's the oir of Torah. It's not about the kilim. Maybe less Havana, but Oisius. So there's Timtum Alev. These are the three in one. Now you come to Timtum HaMoyach, and here it goes for Karen. So now you have a Matziv, Sif Gimel. You did all these in Yanim. Okay. It doesn't help. If it doesn't help, it's a hayra. It's a clear hayra that not only is the lev mitumtim, there's timtum moyach. The moyach doesn't get it. Yeah, he's not a keli. And because the moyach's not a keli, all these eitzes, these eitzes do is they take the ideas in the mind and they allow them to penetrate the heart. But if you do all these eitzes, but there's nothing in the mind itself is leidik, it doesn't get it, right? Even if it knows some chassidus, it doesn't buy into it. So what do? So here again, here goes for your head's not working. What do? Learn more, Edel Oisted, the cup, right? Think more, go to another Shiur, learn another Maamar. You go another direction, right? I have to see there's the The pasha, someone comes and tells you that the heart isn't working. You have to find ways to open the heart. Yeah. You say it's pasha. Okay, we say. I'll tell you what. The reason I brought a dugma gashmis in a way is because when we speak about Yonim Ruchniim, the pshittis and the chiddish is like, yeah, like are we even trying this one or trying that one? Like, I'm good. So this works. Why not? That's what it's saying in chiddish. When you start thinking practically, think about what your heart. When your heart works, your brain is working. Even in the muscle, not in the nimshal, yeah? Not necessarily are you going to think that way. Not necessarily are you going to think that way. Right? So you're taking your kids on the trip. Yeah, and the kid's not excited. He's one of the kids, for some reason, waiting online 4 hours for a roller coaster doesn't excite him. So Pella, yeah? Chayret should excite him. Doesn't excite him. So what do? You entertain the kid, right? Try to entertain him. You crack some jokes. You don't go tell him, who do you think you are? We paid all this money. You have to enjoy yourself. The chayret nish, right? The heart's not working. You try to be more to the heart. But that's in the kud. You have to understand how the Maamar works and how it works and what it actually means. So there's a moichin. In moichin, the kid's not listening in class. He's not, or he doesn't get it, he doesn't understand. So what do? So you give more homework, yeah? And you find different ways, you try to explain it better. Right? Doesn't get, okay, let me try to explain this way, try to explain that way. The moichin's not working, so find ways to get the moichin to work. What's the derech for moichin? It's interesting. So he starts off saying that there's the three, what do you say this? In Sifhei, yeah? The Eitzel HaHaver Tumtum Meich Ba'avoda, so he brings the Gimel in Yanin. There's Gimel Yanin have to be Koydem at Tefillah. Ki Yadua. And which one does he, how many does he bring? You want to know? He brings two. The Sinah Staka. That's in the Maisa Mitzvahs. And what's the next one? Mikveh. Aber nicht Stam Mikveh. It's not Stam to jump into 749. Nicht making them Redman, yeah? What's mikveh? There's a you have to know the mikveh is a makim tare. The Rosh Hashanah brings there that you do that there's all kinds of minyanim of kavanas hamikveh. Or me'anish wegen the grace of kavanas hamikveh, the shayt tefillas and the kavanas hamikveh. But this kavanah klal is, in other words, understand you're being toivel. You're changing your life. Yeah, I'm sure after this Maamar mikveh will never be the same experience. You already see it the last few days. What's the third thing? Yes, I think so. in the Maamar, that's a lot of the Rebbe. So there he says, I think the third one he says there is Zoyar, right? Right, and then in the Torah I think he develops it a bit. The Rebbe has what's the Maamar in Toshniel Al, Toshniel Beis, right? One of the earlier Maamarim. The Rebbe has a Maamar. The Rebbe brings the three, and there the Rebbe says when you give a Maamar, most serious is Zoyar, learning Chassidus. I think that the point what's the Rebbe brings from it, learning Chassidus. We take out the learning part. In other words, in the Timtum HaMoichim, the Chayre, that's the original Eitzah, Didrei Zachin. The Moich's not working. Okay, mikveh. That's interesting. How mikveh helps you learn Chassidus. Okay, and that's one of the nyanim of going to mikveh for Chassidus. Then there's staka kenetva, and then actually learning. We don't even mention the learning. Even though later we bring the Indian of Torah and Tilim, maybe there is. He doesn't say clearly. Maybe that's negate to that. Huh? So what's the limit of Zoyers? The way it's explained in Chassidus is much learning Chassidus. So learning Chassidus, Musar there. Whereas we don't even mention it here. I'm just saying when we come to Maisa, the Eitz for Timtum HaMoyach is these two in Yonim. How is that? How does going to mikveh? Okay, with a kavanah, granted, and Maisa HaMitzvahs, that helps you in Moyachim. Right, so he says because we're talking about Timtum HaMoyach. So the Rebbe Shmuly has a vart. At the end of the Sichas, he says, Timtum Alev, the way it says it in Tanya, that it's Timtum Alev is Shaykh to Alamin. Timtum HaMoichin, he says, I don't want everyone here to be depressed by the Fabrengen. It's supposed to be Fabrengen. I'm not speaking to everybody. Not everyone has Timtum HaMoich. It's Yechidim. Yechidim have Timtum HaMoichin. For them, it's Negea this Indian. But that was in Tafresh Ayin Gimel. He says that Timtum Alev, it's enough dibur. Timtum HaMoich, you need ma'aser, right? You have to mamish go away, rescue them out. You have to mamish go in the other direction. Timtum HaMoich, you need ma'aser, you need mikveh. That level of bittul. What's the vart? Because the nekuda of Timtum HaMoich is you bring it right. That you're in gansin, you're not there. You're pashet. It was in the previous one. Ain't a kli. Your gansin not a kli to gili early key. You're not besoicha inyan. Here is sitvav. Yeah. Sitvav timtum at the end of sitvav timtum will be chol mahosei. You're not involved. A person that doesn't buy. Think about this. Yeah, you have a bacher. Fine, he's a good boy. That's what he has to do. He's not motivated. He's not excited. He's not interested so much. Fine. Okay, so there's different ways to deal with that. Timtum HaMoyach is on some level he just doesn't buy into the whole program. Right? We're not necessarily talking about sfekis. Right? That's already a more gasustika oifen in Timtum HaMoyach. Even before sfekis, even just like he doesn't buy into the memo, like the whole kav, the whole shitta. Like, okay, sure, yeah, it's not his. It's not his zap. Chassidus is not, Yiddishkeit is not his thing. So here, it's not just about giving him another better idea. You have to give him a zahus. You have to give him an identity, right? He's not bought in. He's not bought into the program. So for this, you need something that's mishanim mahus. And these inyanim are mishanim mahus. Sof ma'isa, even though it's ma'isa is all the way at the bottom at the end of it's ma'isa that's mishanim the mahus. Some mice, it's interesting words from Nissim Mendel. Right there, he doesn't bring out the Nkuda in Gaza, brings out this Indian. Nissim Mendel came to Eretz Yisrael, Vav Zayin. He comes to the offices of Kfar Chabad, the newsletter. He said that he came here from New York. He has to be interviewed. I don't know if he said clearly that everyone he has to be interviewed. Fine. So they asked him questions. Basically, he didn't really answer the questions they asked. He gave them a list of questions, like a real press conference. He gave his list, and he answered. So one of the things that they asked him there, and he answered, there was a havana that I don't know if everything, but a lot of them seemed to come from the Rebbe or be used on what the Rebbe told him. So they asked him, what's pshat? We send our bachrim, yeshiva bachrim, we send them on Avtzon on Friday. It was like, but they're in his lumad Torah. But Pasha could have given a simple answer. Right? We have to take care of other people. We're obviously Yisrael. We don't just think about ourselves. Why are we in yeshiva b'chlal? Fine. Well, this is the answer that he gave. He said, a bacher learns throughout the week. I learned Chassidus. I learned wegen Ebersh. I learned wegen Torah. I learned wegen Yid. Yisrael, no, it's a nice idea. It's cool. But it's an idea. Then he goes to Avtzon. He meets a Yid, a Fraya Yid. There's no shaykhs to anything. He meets him, asks him to put on film. And the Yid goes and puts on film. All of a sudden, everything he's learning is concretized, right? He sees it in front of his eyes. It has a kiyum b'maisa. It's actually happening, right? So he's learning. He's in the world of ideas. But somehow, you could be learning an entire week, not just an entire week, a full year, many years. With Tmima, you're learning these ideas, but it doesn't become who you are. You don't fully buy into it. It's not nichnas. Yeah? There's a certain timtum on someone. It's the maisa tzedakah that has that energy. There's an energy of maisa. Dafke maisa b'poyo brings you there. Right? So Bachar, it's important to know that even in life, maybe especially in the life of a Bachar, after the life of a Bachar, someone that's in kokuli in a belt of seichel, it's dafke maisa that allows it to penetrate the mind. Besides for the milas of maisa and the tachlis, the Talmud, maybe the maisa, the Talmud itself reaches a kiyum dafke in the world of maisa.